So, Weston, honey.
Yes, dear.
Well, today marks a day where it's been 30 years since
Yeah.
your daddy passed away.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people would just like to know more about your relationship with your daddy and everything that you probably feel, your feelings about your daddy.
Yeah.
And so let's take them back to that day and maybe how you felt on that day when your dad left this world and went on to be with Jesus.
Yeah, I remember it well. 30 years ago today, I was right here in Hendersonville, just across town. We lived in Glen Oaks subdivision at the time, and it had been kind of touch and go for a little while with Dad's health. He'd kind of get a little better, and then he'd get a little worse. You know how
He was sick for like over 2 years, right?
Yeah, he was sick for a good while. The doctors gave him not a lot of time. When they first discovered it, it had already kind of gotten to the last stage 4, and he had probably had it for a very long time.
Found out on his 40th birthday.
40th birthday, he had officially been diagnosed with renal cell carcinoma cancer. And, I mean, what a day.
Yeah. Young, so young.
Young. When I hit 42 and actually went past his age, he passed away at 41. When I hit 42, I kind of had this epiphany of, oh, wow, what do I do from here? But that day that he passed away, my sister and I were at home, and my mom's sister, Aunt Janet, came and picked us up and said, hey, your dad's kind of taking a turn for the worse, and he wants to see you kids. And we got there, and a lot of the family was gathered there by his bedside. But I know it was myself, my sister Amanda, and my mom were all gathered around him closest by his head. And as we kind of watched all the machines that were kind of helping to keep him stable and alive, the vital signs kind of ebbed a little bit, and he slipped into eternity. And the one thing I remember him talking about on the One More Hallelujah video they released in '93, you couldn't deny the presence of God when his daddy, Cecil, my grandfather, went home to be with Jesus, and it was the same that day. You just could not deny the presence of the Lord.
So, what was your dad like outside of the spotlight? Many of them, know him on the stage and everything, but a lot of people don't know what he was like behind the scenes. So, what could you say about that?
Well, I smiled because the folks that didn't know him like that missed out. You got the singer and the stage part of Daddy, and that was an extension of him, so to speak.
Big part of him, yeah.
But that wasn't who he was. He was a cut up. He was kind of a nut, as you remember.
Like you.
Yeah, your dad and my dad knew each other long years ago, and they cut up and acted like nuts.
Kind of embarrassed me. I ran and hid under a booth to not be embarrassed.
Right, because they'd go out in public and act like fools, and and that's kind of how he was. He was not ashamed to just be lighthearted and take life not so serious.
Yeah. So your dad wasn't just a singer; he was a songwriter. He was a minister, and he was a dad. So how did he balance those roles? Did you notice? And you were young, but did you happen to notice how it was for him? He was also a producer. He produced my mom's first album. So he was a lot of things.
76, I think it was. Yeah. In Hilltop Recording Studios. We've done many albums there for clients, but I'd have to say it's probably a struggle to balance all that because he was gone 3, 4, 5 days a week sometimes. And that left Mom to carry a heavy load. But when he was home, he was, we didn't know a superstar. We didn't know him as a lot of people refer to him, GOAT, the greatest of all time. He didn't have that essence to him. He was just Dad. And
because me and my brother, when we were kids, we thought the Hensons were the big famous, almost like country singers.
Well, back then, gospel was the big
gospel
deal.
Was
that's
big
where,
deal.
When gospel came to town, hey, that's what you did.
And they were, still some of the biggest talents of all time. Yeah. So, as a son, what are some of your most cherished memories of your dad?
Man, there's so many to choose from. I can remember a lot of times my dad and my sister, he would take her and she would think, she was special, but newsflash, he did it for me as well. But I remember he would take us places to try to give us that unique identity, and not just we're both his kids, but we are individually his kids, so that he saw us as not just a part of a whole, but as who we were individually. And so he would take us to do special things together. Of course, my thing was I like to go to the arcades and go to ride,
That's evident.
Yeah, I've always loved games, and I've always been competitive, as you know.
That's evident.
But I like riding go-karts and playing basketball and those kinds of things. And my sister, she always loved to go horseback riding, and she was always good with animals, and still is to this day. And so he knew how to nurture that. When
he took you to do big things when he got a chance, right?
Yeah, especially when, of course, I have photos, and we'll probably show them in the video here. But when we were very young, he took us to do Disney World and to
tried to make it
Opryland, and for some reason they tore Opryland down, put them all there. Ruined all my childhood memories, but anything there was to do that was memorable, Dad liked to do that, and I try to adopt that with our kids.
Yeah,
and when we traveled, Jordy was traveling with us. We tried to get Morgan to go with us some, as she could, but I can remember all kinds of stories and memories where fun things to do, Twitty City at Christmas. And of course my mom enjoyed that my mom loves Christmas, so we love Christmas. So
we've had a great time with her and Branson and stuff. So aside from teaching you things like that, which I thought was a great thing to teach you, what is something that really stuck with you that your dad might have taught you growing up? That
there's never a person that ever comes your way that's insignificant. There's never anyone that, any problem that anyone has that you're too busy to stop and not listen to. That's People awesome. Matter. Yeah. And I think that anybody that ever met him kind of saw that about him. I don't know how many people I can tell you that I have never heard of in my life will tell me stories. And that's not a knock on him. That's just to say he treated everybody as though they were his friend. And so they'd come up and say, man, your dad and I used to cut up and have a good time. And
he made everybody feel like a friend.
He made everybody feel, because they mattered. It wasn't like they mattered. They did to him. And because he knew, and we know that because hopefully that apple didn't fall too far from that tree. But that's the lesson I learned to take away. Always follow God. Don't follow the pressure of man to conform to X, Y, or Z in society. Because as you remember, the story I've told you, and you've heard from Uncle Ronnie and Uncle Larry and those in the family, that Dad was offered on several occasions chances to go follow the world. But there's a reason I love the song, I'd Rather Have Jesus, and that is because Dad was my example to say you can have all the world and all the riches, but I'd rather have Jesus. So that's the lesson.
In this age that you got yourself in, are there things that you do or say or look in the mirror and you're like, oh gosh, that's my dad right there?
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes if I get real tickled, because Dad, when he would laugh, there was never a room that could contain the laugh. He was just so larger than life with his laugh, his personality, his sense of humor.
It was boisterous.
It was just big, and and that was, he found humor in everything, and that's what I like. People always ask, why is everything funny to you, or why do you always make jokes about everything? Because Hensons are notorious for not liking a heavy mood or heavy emotion.
Yeah, I do know that for sure.
Yeah, and so we all like to laugh and have a good time, and so
I don't know how many times I've had to explain that to people, really, for sure.
He's not serious.
Y'all, he's not serious. He's joking.
Yeah.
But also that's what I love about him. He made me laugh. So you definitely have followed in the footsteps of your family, and you've honored that, I think, in a great way, and wanted to carry, that in a great way and give them honor. But have you ever felt the weight of that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I know all these answers, but for everybody out there.
I have big feet. I wear a size 15 shoe, but even I can't fill those shoes. It feels like sometimes it's just the legacy that we carry. I don't carry it by myself. You and I carry it together, and Jordy helped us with that too for many years, 9 years, and
she'll carry it on after us.
And she's carrying another,
maybe even a grandson,
and another lane. Yeah, but it's a mantle. It's I don't know exactly the word to use other than maybe that. Maybe it's fitting, maybe it's not, but it's a legacy that I don't carry lightly. I do everything I can to guard it, to nurture that memory, all the memories that.
Well, they worked hard.
They worked hard. They blazed a trail. They did without. They, all paid a price, a dear price. And so, but I appreciate what they've done, and I know that I stand on the shoulders of giants.
If your dad could see where you are, what do you think he would think of you today? Like,
I hope he'd say he was proud, not just because maybe I've honed in my talent, or maybe I've worked on my talent. I don't know if I've honed it in per se, but I hope that I would make him proud, and that the most important thing to me is that I would make him proud.
What do you want people to remember about your dad? Not just like the singer, the legend, but about your dad as a whole.
That he chose Jesus. He was nobody's perfect in this world. I'm far from it. You're the closest thing that I've ever seen to perfection. But he was not a perfect man, yet he was a humble man. He was a man that loved God, loved family, and loved life. And, that is one thing I would say. He would hopefully continue that last question to say, I would hope he'd be proud that I followed those footsteps to love life, love family.
I think he would be
love
very
God.
proud of you.
And so, that's what I want people to remember most. It's not just the legacy of music, because, he has a legacy. As the album from, I think it was 86, had said, the legacy goes on. And it's not just living through me, it's living through ministry, through songs everybody, a lot of people sing to this day.
What's one of your favorite songs that he ever did?
Man, that would have to be something I'd have to really probably think of. But off the top of my head, one of my favorite songs, probably two of the favorites, Better Than New, and I'll Never Be Over the Hill. Probably lyrically, I'll Never Be Over the Hill is his greatest accomplishment. The song is an absolute masterpiece.
I really like that.
I can remember where that song was written. He was pastoring in Houston at the Lighthouse Assembly of God on Lee Road in Houston, Texas. That was a sermon first. And I can remember him and Uncle Larry had talked back and forth because they were, jostling the idea of doing another album, another tour. So Uncle Larry had written a song, Joy Comes in the Morning, and Dad loved it, said it's fantastic. And then Dad said, hey, I've got this song too, what do you think? And they both, sang it to each other how they'd written it, and they both turned out incredible songs, and we've recorded both of them, maybe not like they did, but
I think you did
we
right.
honored them. But those are probably two of my favorites, and maybe just a third wheel on that little tour of favorite songs right now. Maybe off the same album as Better Than New. It all still amazes me. It's real bluegrass. I'm an oddball.
And that's funny because, our children, one of them's just not the biggest Southern gospel fan, but that's one of her favorites, and to me, it's the most country of all that he wrote.
It's bluegrass.
It's really bluegrass.
It's fantastic.
So, and I love it too. It being the anniversary of his passing, I think a lot of people will probably, as always, will start commenting on your wall and posting on your wall, and we'll give them this to see and give them more information. And, I know every year, if it's Father's Day or if it's this day or if it's his birthday, I see the 12-year-old boy come back around.
It's
I
tough.
see, it's a tough day.
There's been a few times I've tried not to cry during this interview, so it's probably weighs
me
more
too,
on it
actually.
this year.
So I know how much your daddy meant to you and still means to you because you still honor him, and I'm very proud of you for that.
Thank you.
That's why I stand beside you, and I'm very lucky to stand with you. Is there anything else that you want anybody else out there to know about your daddy, or that you just want to say to them for just being people that loved the Hensons, loved your dad's music, anything you want to say in closing of this video?
I think I'd like to say, just because his voice isn't making new material doesn't mean that his song doesn't mean as much, because those songs still matter. That memory, that legacy, it doesn't just live on through me, but like I said a little bit earlier, it lives on through every singer that sings them. It lives on through every person that's touched and ministered to. If we just keep that memory alive, keep loving Hinson music. Uncle Ronnie's still writing, he's still going strong. Unfortunately, we lost Uncle Larry 5 years ago, miss him every day. But just remember, it's important. If I can ever say this, and I guess I'll look at the camera and say this, if you have a father, if you have a mother, if you have a parent, no matter if you're estranged, no matter what the scenario is, spend time and let them know, because you never know. We've got a song right now that you never know when you'll have to say goodbye. And so, unfortunately, I had to say goodbye as a 12-year-old boy, and I miss him every day. Not a day goes by for the last 30 years of my life that I don't think, what would it be like? I would trade everything I own just to be able to sit and have one more conversation and to tell him I love him. And hopefully he would tell me he's proud of me. And
I believe he would.
Thank you.
Well, thank y'all everybody for tuning into this video. I hope you got some information you maybe didn't have before, and just got a moment to just sit in and have a memory about one of your favorite singers that I know you probably love forever and still love. Just tune into the Hinson Family anytime we come on. Go to www.thehensonfamily.com.
Thehensonfamily.com. And you can go get our merchandise at shop.thehensonfamily.com.
We're still pressing on, still making music.
Still doing it.
We're still the Hensons.
We love y'all.